Well, I finally got some paint on the chassis of this airline. It's got some good pitting here and there from the rust and everything, but I'm not going to worry about it. The rust is gone and the paint looks really good. This is just a primer. We'll wind up painting it silver later on, but right now I'm going to let it set for a couple of days for the paint to harden up. Remember, just because paint is dry doesn't mean it's hard. You got to let it harden up. And then we'll start messing around with the wires under the chassis and see if I can't do something. Wifey just got back from shopping. She brought me a little gift. She brought me some Weisswurst, which is the German way of saying white wurst. You know, it's a German type of sausage. It came in red and white. Most folks like the red. I like the white. I thought it was better. And she also came, and this was actually out of Germany. It's made in Germany. And then she brought some German mustard, which is a Dusseldorf style. I don't really recall Dusseldorf style mustard, but she said whenever we went to a mall in Germany or a small shop or something and got a wurst on a little cardboard tray, there would always be some of this mustard there. You know, they would cut the sausage in little wheels, and they give you a toothpick, and you'd pick it up and dip it in the mustard and the red or the white. And I don't really recall doing that too much. It seemed to me I had some kind of different sauce. Maybe she got the mustard. Maybe I did. I just don't remember. And about the most memorable thing I liked over there was the Crowder butter. Oh God. You can buy Crowder butter in the States now with no problem. Crowder butter on a steak, just smear it all over the top of a steak and let it melt after you've fried it. It is so good. And some of the other foods I recall that we had over there was we had a goulash zuppa, which was just goulash soup. Now that was one of the wife's favorites. We'd go out to a restaurant, first thing she ordered was goulash zuppa. And schnitzels, your schnitzel, everything was schnitzel this, schnitzel that. And I didn't, after a while you kind of burn out on schnitzels. And the one thing I liked the absolute best above all things in Germany as far as food went was their pork sandwiches. They had these humongous rotisseries at wine fests and beer fests, and in the background was the Oompa band playing, and the guy would cut you off a piece about that thick, and lay it on the bread, and oh God, it was just so good. And I think I paid 5 marks for a sandwich, but I didn't care, that was like $3 or something, but it didn't bother me at the time, and that was quite a while ago. It was pretty expensive. And then there was the German beer. Holy mackerel. I mean, there's all different kinds. And they don't drink a glass of beer. No, they drink mugs. And every October we had the Oktoberfests over there. And the beer flowed like a raging river. It was incredible. But anyway, we're going to try these today. They came packed in a brine for preservation purposes. And you take them out, you cover them up with water, you simmer them for about 5 to 10 minutes in a saucepan, covered up with water. And then, of course, you have to refrigerate what you don't use. And then you just put them on a hot dog bun. I like them on a hot dog bun, or you can just put them on a plate and eat them that way. And I'll let you know maybe the Dusseldorf mustard memory will pop back in my head once I taste it. I don't know. We'll give you an update on this later. And now for an update on our, the case for our Heathkit OL-1. I gave it to a friend of mine, and he ran it through an acid bath, and it took all that nasty old paint and crap off of there. There was a sticker on the bottom that must have been 110,000 years old. Took that off, and a lot of discoloration under there. But other than that, I'll tell you what, I'm really satisfied with the way that turned out. So tomorrow morning it's going to get a shot of that light gray primer as well to protect it. Once that's on, then I'll go ahead and look for a light gray paint to put over the top of it to somewhat match what the original was. We're still working on this airline tuner. After all the rust was removed and I went ahead and put it in the oven and everything, it's all, you know, rust free and all that. However, I have a kind of it looks like some kind of like a powdery film here. If I take my thumbnail and scrape it, I can scrape it off. I think what we better do is run this through the ultrasonic cleaner before we completely call it, you know, quits. Meanwhile, a while back I received a message from one of our good subscribers, and he said, John, when you do a restoration and you remove the tuner, do you take the mica out? The mica is the stuff that's between this top plate here and the bottom here. It's that glossy looking stuff you see right there. He said, do you ever take that out and clean it? Well, if you're doing a restoration, the answer to that is what? Yes, we take it out if we're doing a restoration, a full restoration. At one time I decided, you know, not to do that, but then later on I realized, hey, look, you know, I opened up a couple of them and boy, were they grungy under there, really bad. So we're going to go ahead and remove this middle one. And the first thing I want to do is take this screw out. Then I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to gently, as I take the screw out, this top plate will raise up. And then once it gets up and the screw's gone, I can take that mica with my tweezers and just kind of gently pull it out from between those two plates. Then we can go ahead and take these screws out here and remove the entire piece of metal. Alright, we got the screw ready to lift out. Go ahead and get that baby out of there. You have to be very careful. It's not a good idea to handle mica with your hands if you can help it. In particular when you're trying to get it out of the tuner. You can crack this stuff. It's very, very thin. It's made from a mineral, which is a rock. They cut it very, very thin because it has good dielectric properties, which means it keeps, you know, keeps shorts from happening between the two plates. And it also could handle heat real well. And that's what they had back in the old days. So we'll go ahead and take this little sheet of mica out. Let's see what we got here. It looks like we might have two sheets. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me see if this thing will separate it into two sheets. If it will, I'll get back to you. Well, son of a gun if it isn't two sheets. I've never seen two pieces of mica. There's one piece right there. It's got a crack, you know, along the top edge here. You got to be careful. But that's caused by it being in here, the flex point of this thing. So we're gonna have to be extra special careful. Holy mackerel, I never seen two like that. Could be someone, I don't know, maybe someone put new sheets in years ago. I doubt it though. That's got to be factory stuff. Maybe they just needed a little more heat, you know, resistant capability and a little more dielectric capability. I don't know. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can remove this thing now and see if it'll, it should come right out. Just a couple of screws holding it. And then I can clean top and bottom of it. Let me get that out of there. No big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't be afraid of this stuff. Don't be afraid. Just eyeball it real good before you tear it apart. And that's all there is to it. Now I can clean the surface here. You can see it's kind of grungy. Pretty grungy right there. We'll clean that up. And we will clean the bottom. This is the bottom. It's not too bad. All you got to do is give her a good scrub with alcohol all around with just a little acid brush. That's all. Just dip the old thing in the alcohol here. Not a big deal, okay? Don't worry about slopping it all around. It's alcohol. Oops. It's alcohol. It will evaporate. Okay. Alright, I think that's just about got it. Now we'll just wipe it down, you know, pat it dry a little bit and then just let it evaporate the rest of the way. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for these two. The next thing we're going to do is clean that old mica on top and bottom. I'll hold the corner with my finger and then just kind of brush it back and forth very gently. Then we'll flip it over and do the other side and then pat it dry. Let's see if we can't get it a little bit cleaner. Now remember, you don't need to scrub on this stuff. Don't bend it. Don't put too much pressure on it. Take your time. Just gently does it, okay? And if all the dirt and stain doesn't come off, don't worry about it. As long as you've given it a good cleaning, that's about as best as you're going to get. It turns out that these are some pretty frail pieces of mica, so I think what I better do is not take any chances. I'm just going to go ahead and mount it back up in here and put everything back together the way it was, and then proceed to the next two one at a time. Well, that's it, folks. Best I could do in short notice. That's nice and clean, and I was even able to get some of the powdery residue off the I guess they're aluminum. I don't know what's causing that. I know it did not come from the evapor rust. It may have been on there just corrosion from all these years. Hopefully the ultrasonic cleaner will get rid of it. Evapor rust gets rid of rust. That's it. It's not a cleaner, okay?
We will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image. Make it flutter.
I'm sitting here watching Elma Junk Collector's latest video. It starts out with his TV playing The Outer Limits. I remember when the show The Outer Limits made its debut on black and white TV when I was a kid. That was a great show. We really enjoyed it. And every week we wouldn't miss it, and we wouldn't, I think it came out in competition to The Twilight Zone, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so long, I can't remember. But we used to really like The Outer Limits. I liked the way it came on. You know, we'll control the horizontal, we'll control this, we'll control. And that was really slick. It was a good idea. Anyway, let me scroll ahead here a little bit. The whole thing is a lead up to Don's latest addition to his Oscilloscope collection.
It looks really pretty good. Let's look underneath it. Get it over here more. Okay. Let's tip it over and look underneath it. Don't look too shabby.
That's an Oscilloscope that he now added to his collection. That's or I guess he's only got one other one, especially you know, in the old types. You know, that's a pretty nice looking scope there, Don. I've been working on mine. I've been messing around. I'm cleaning the knobs up a little bit. In addition to, you know, having got that case all stripped down in that acid vat, it's beginning to take shape. Now if I can get my 1V tube and 1V2 halfway rectifier tube in here.
Not bad, really. And if I evapor rust that...
Yeah, you're right. That is not a bad looking Oscilloscope. While watching Don's video, I have been sitting here eating my Weisswurst, my German Weisswurst, and I've got that Dusseldorf mustard on it. I don't know, it just tastes like Gluden's mustard to me, or French's. I didn't see much difference. I don't remember that stuff over there in Germany. Anyway, I've got myself a little bit of potato salad, and of course, as far as the drinks go, the coup de grace. Let me tell you something. That I remember as a kid, and I like it to this day. It's a little gloomy out here this morning, so it might be low light may be giving us a problem with what we got going on here. But I had to get a coat of primer paint on this cabinet, this oscilloscope cabinet, really quick. Surface rust, it'll develop within an hour, so you have to really get on top of it as quickly as you can. So I left it in the house all night with the heat on. It was dry heat. Fortunately, it didn't rust much. I've got to put a few more layers of the primer paint on, and then she'll be ready to go for the top coat. I took some of this lime away stuff and went ahead and sprayed the tuner down with it. That'll for sure help us get some of that, you know, that it looked like calcium on there is what it looked like. And this stuff here is supposed to take care of lime, calcium, and rust. We'll see. And now I'm going to go ahead and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner for a while. This thing is such a big tuner, it won't even, it's huge, you know, it won't even let me put the lid all the way down, but it's going to have to do. I'll just put a towel across the top of it. Well, here goes. Well, I've run it through twice. Once on one side, then I flipped it over and ran it on the other. And I think what we're going to do, I don't know what all that is there. Look at that. Holy mackerel. What is that? It must have been underneath all that crap. Well, let's go ahead and see what's happening when I flip it around again this way. we'll put it in this way again and run it again. You know, these ultrasonic cleaners, you know, Christmas is coming up, guys. And my wife bought this for me a few years ago. It's a Harbor Freight one. It's never failed me yet. It's a pretty good size, you know. You can put your whole hand down in there. And I think she got it on sale for like 59 bucks. Now, of course, you're probably not going to get it on sale for $59 now. But with Christmas coming up, you know, I don't know, it just seems like every year around this time, I'm using my ultrasonic cleaner. I always recommend this to those of you who work on radios and phonographs and whatever. You know, good little thing to have. You know, they last pretty good. At least mine has. What I've decided to do here is just take one of these Stay Bright pads and just kind of go over that rusted area that must have been underneath some of that calcium looking crap, as far as I can tell. It's just surface rust. Takes it right off right away. Then we'll go ahead and run it through the ultrasonic cleaner again to see what happens. Maybe it'll appear a second time. Lesson learned today. I did not know this. I'm glad I found it out now. Don't use this stuff in an ultrasonic cleaner for your tuners. It works great, don't get me wrong, it works great, but the problem is it works too great. This stuff, I guess, ate into the metal a little bit. You can't see it, of course, but it just caused rust after rust. When I flipped it over this way, I had rust, and then I flipped it back the other way, I had rust. Maybe a little bit too powerful. So use something a little less caustic. Let's go ahead and finish this video up with the tuner again. I stuck it in the evapor rust all night long, and it, without a doubt, has eaten all the rust off. Yes, it did. It got it all. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take it out of there, rinse it off real quick with the hose, and then I have my my little air compressor ready to blow it dry. And then we'll slap it in the oven, and hopefully it'll take care of it. I've never had a problem with a tuner getting rusty so quick like this one. Kind of strange. Well, that finished it up. I just spent about 10 minutes blowing all the water out of this thing with the air hose. I might give it another 30 seconds or so of air before I take it in and put it in the oven. It looks much, much better. Boy, look at those mica cap areas there. That looks really nice. I should have probably done it this way to begin with. But I better get in the oven and then dry it out as much as I can. Next time, hopefully, we'll have the tube in from Bob Dobush from Find a Tube, the 1V2 for the OL1 Heathkit oscilloscope. Yeah, hopefully I'll have the cabinet painted and a bunch of other crap done. And we'll of course want to paint this with a nice clear coat on it. I want to make sure it won't rust at all. And there may be a few other things sandwiched in here and there. You never know what you're going to find in these Mish-Mash videos. Things come up every day that I think of or pop out of nowhere. So anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, this is John.